Joining me now is Cory Belyk, President and CEO at CanAlaska Uranium. We meet again. Great to see you.
Great to see you too, Mark.
Always good to get an update on the story. So drilling is complete for the summer season at the Pike Zone, West MacArthur, and it continues to show itself as high grade, ultra high grade. The team has expanded the footprint to the west. So would you say is it increasingly likely that you're sitting on and advancing a world-class discovery?
Yeah, that's a forward-looking statement, but I'm going to be bold. And this stuff does not happen every day, and we don't see this very often, even in the Athabasca Basin. So to get these kinds of grades and thicknesses, starting to show that third dimension, the extension of it, the strike extent, the continuity, and then starting to make it predictable. Starting to have the ability to actually go, oh, we should drill 100 meters over and actually hit ultra-high-grade uranium, and that's exactly what we did late in the summer. That's a perfect outcome from our summer exploration. We are done, but we're getting ourselves reset to be out there in very early January.
Now, you said there's potential for significant additional zones and more pearls to come, as you like to say, pearls on a string. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we've talked about this before, pearls on a string. These deposits, like MacArthur River, they occur as maybe 7 zones over the course of maybe 1 or 2 kilometers. Altogether, they're only a few hundred meters in strike length as actual pods or zones, but pearls on a string. So we are working on one pearl, we believed, as we started the summer. Now we've potentially identified a second pearl. They may actually be connected. We don't know that yet because we don't have a lot or very, very limited drilling between. An ideal situation would be that ultra high grade is connected over 100 meters. That'd be perfect. Let's assume they're separate. That's 2 pearls. Everything in our results is pointing us downtrend to the west, where we don't have a single drill hole for 1,000 meters. And yet just 100 meters away, there's shaping up to be another target based on what we're seeing in our current drilling from the summer saying drill here. It's exactly how this started back in February when we released the first ultra high grade uranium intercepts, and that's exactly how it's continued through the summer. So we're pretty excited about maybe a second, third, fourth, potentially even more pearls along this trend that's proving to be very prolific.
You recently raised $5 million. You've got about $12 million in the treasury, so you're getting all set up for the 25 campaign. What are the next steps?
The next step is to actually get out there and get drilling. I mean, no doubt we're going to have to come to the market at some point, but our treasury is very healthy. 12 million in the bank, or 11.5 actually. That's very healthy as we enter the year. We'll look to finance when appropriate, but we're gearing up to be out there in the first week of January with both drills turning, working on these 2 ultra high grade zones or pods that we're now working on at Pike Zone, and we're going to bring a third drill in shortly thereafter. That's the plan to continue to look for that next pearl.
And Cory, any updates on some of the joint ventures the company has, like Moon Lake South with Denison?
Well, Moon Lake South, they saw enough in the winter program from the geophysics and new data that 2 targets developed, really another target developed to the south of where we intercepted that 8 meters at 2.5% a couple years ago. They've been having trouble sorting the geology out there, but then this target sort of fell on the table. So they came to us, Denison came to us and said, look, we believe there's a lot of potential here, we should drill it. Let's do a supplemental budget, and that's exactly what's ongoing right now. I think they're going to drill about 3 or 4 holes on that project, and we'll see what the results tell us. But it's pretty exciting. That mineralization isn't there for no good reason, so they need to sort it out.
Lastly here, Cory, the uranium sector has come back to life, as we know. We were talking off camera about, for example, 3 Mile Island starting up again, one of the units, not the one that had the accident, but Microsoft and Constellation Energy and other developments. You mentioned Google, big tech's getting involved in the sector. So, and your stock's up at, let's say, 30% in the last while. So sum it up for us, how things look right now.
Well, I've been in this 30 years, and I've never seen fundamentals like this before, and just the last, say, few months or even weeks, days perhaps, everything you mentioned is coming to fruition. Now, that's just the start of what is going to be, I believe, a multi-decade nuclear build-out. Why? Because you have to support the technology of today. These big tech companies have to be off fossil fuels. They've already openly stated it's going to be nuclear, and we're seeing the evidence of it right now, as you mentioned. That just speaks to what we're entering. We're at the very, very early stage of the next uranium bull market, and as this infrastructure is built out, you've got to fuel it, and that's where CanAlaska comes in. You've got to find the fuel, and we don't have to look too far to go, gee, maybe a lot of the Kazakh uranium production is actually going to go to China, to the east, as opposed to the west. I think that's part of the message today in the market, where all the stocks are up, is that it's not just about the big tech companies embracing it. It's about security of supply and the geopolitical risk that even exists in Asia today. So, I think that's it's a very good sign for the Athabasca Basin, Western sources of supply. We want to be the next Tier 1 asset in the Eastern Athabasca Basin. We believe we might have that on our hands, and we're going to be busy next year proving that to our shareholders.
It's a great ongoing story, and we'll be following. We'll see you again.
Thanks, Mark. Real pleasure.
Thank you, Cory. Always a pleasure with Cory Belyk, the CEO of CanAlaska Uranium.